I am Lee, I'm with Danny, and also we're here to talk to Mark Clifford.
Today's episode we are going to be talking a bit about Ilkeston Town Football Club, a bit about some of the work that Mark does in and around the community helping young people, as well as his time as a professional footballer.
Yes, this is going to be a very good one. So Mark, how long have you been interested in football and what was your playing career?
Wow, massive question. How long was I interested in football? Probably quite late, considering when I listened to some people in terms of, you know, they're saying when they was 3-4 years old, they was kicking the ball around. I was just playing on the street with my mates till I was about 8 or 9 and didn't even join my first team till I was 11. But I think one of the PE teachers, the junior school teacher at school, saw something in me and, you know, pushed me forward for a few teams, and it kind of just kicked on from there, really.
So from a young age, what did you go through, like an academy, or was it just a stepping stone through the leagues as you went on through your career?
Yeah, so I started at Brockwood Junior School and then went into the Forest Academy and was there until I was 16. And unfortunately, they thought I wasn't good enough and relieved me of my duties at that point. And I was quite fortunate. I had 7 or 8 League One, Division 1 clubs as they were at the time, now Championship clubs, that wanted me to have a look at them and have a trial. And I ended up going to play for Doncaster Rovers and got injured. And so I had quite a bad knee injury, and it kind of put a stop to all the trials. And then along came Keith Alexander, who was at Mansfield Town at the time. And he said, look, I know you're injured. I know quite a bit about you. We had a great recommendation from Forest, and we're going to sign you. So I thought, I've got not many options really. So I had to take that decision to sign. They took a chance on me, signed injured, and I don't think it was one that either one of us regretted really.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. That is. So, and what was the last club you played for?
Ooh, last club as in football?
Yeah.
As in at what level? Just when I stopped playing?
Yeah.
I think Arnold Town was when I kind of stopped playing in a fairly serious way. I think my heart had left probably several years before that. Yeah. But I was just going through the motions really. I'd already made a decision when I was about 27 that I wanted to go down the coaching pathway. So playing was just, I suppose, a means to an end to me. It brought in a bit of income, and you know I was half decent at it, so it was easy. But I didn't enjoy it as much in the later years, and I wanted to get into my coaching.
And on football, what team do you support?
I support the mighty Arsenal.
Oh no, I did have respect for him. Oh.
There was a good team once, you know.
Once, yeah. A very long time ago.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Do you think, though, with Man City being unable to get to Champions League, do you think they might do it in the next 2 years?
Yeah, for me, I think Arsenal should kind of give up any hope of playing in Champions League or Europa next year. I think we need to give Mikel Arteta a little bit of time to get some players in, get some players out that he needs, and to instill his philosophy. It's clearly rubbing off on a few now because we can see that there's kind of a sharper interest in the players and they're pressing harder and they're working off the ball. Even Ozil's chasing people down, so something's happening, and we just need to give him a bit of time.
Excellent. I think it'll be I do like Arteta. I think he was a good player and he's definitely going to look like a good manager.
So going back to your career in football, when you made the decision to then go into coaching and stop playing, was it one of them things where you thought it was the best thing for you at the time, or was it a tough decision to make?
No, it wasn't really tough. Like I said, I'd been travelling around kind of the lower leagues, the higher, I suppose, leagues of non-league, so Conference and Conference North. I dipped in and out of Ilkeston a few times, played at Nuneaton, went up to Chester on loan for an unsuccessful spell. I was obviously at Boston and we had some great success there. But I just had enough. I just thought, you know what, it's not going to happen. I'm chasing something here that ultimately isn't going to lead me to the riches that I thought it would. And I need to get a career because I was still playing or I've been paid enough to be full time as a footballer, and I just realised that in 3 to 5 years I was going to need to get a job, and I had nothing in terms of experience. So I made the decision quick because I knew that I needed to get something behind me.
So after that, in terms of now day to day, what do you do?
God, I don't know how long you've got on this podcast, but my days are very varied and very long, and I do lots of fantastic things. And I think someone put something up on Instagram yesterday saying if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I think that's exactly how I'm feeling right now. I've got a fantastic job at the Trent Bridge Community Trust, supporting young people to make better life choices, supporting older people with their dementia and becoming more healthy. And then I'm involved at Ilkeston Town on a fantastic level, not just involved with the first team, but actually guiding and directing the football club to become sustainable for many, many, many years to come. So yes, my days are long, and they're very varied, and it can flick literally from, so I mean, Lee will vouch for this. As of yesterday, we were working with people with dementia yesterday in their 60s, 70s and 80s, and then literally I'm working 20 minutes later with a group of 11, 12, 13-year-olds and watching my fantastic team, support them in a totally different way. So that's, I suppose, the Trent Bridge Community Trust work. And then to and from, I'm on the phone and I'm doing Ilkeston Town stuff. So it doesn't stop, and I probably get in the office at 8 in the morning and I'm probably still working 8 or 9 at night, but I love every bit of every day.
I was with you yesterday and I witnessed how hard everybody works, and it was actually amazing to see how good the trust actually works. It was unbelievable. I enjoyed being there.
No, it's great. It's great to hear, because sometimes you can take, when you're in something, you can take it for granted, and you don't really realise, one, how good our team is that we've got at the Trent Bridge, but also how important the work is that we do.
Agreed.
So today at Ilkeston was the academy trials. What did you make of how the day went? Are you pleased with what you saw, not just on the pitch but off the pitches, and characteristics, leadership and things like that?
Yeah, I think, I mean, Danny, you was there, so I suppose you can give me a little bit of an insight from the other side. But from my point of view, I think the day was an extremely successful day. We managed to get through without killing the pitch too much, because we've had a lot of rain, and Mike's worked fantastically hard to get us on today. I think it's really important that we got a chance to play on that pitch. Obviously the pitch is coming up at the end of the season, but it's important that people get the feel of Ilkeston Town, the ground and the surroundings. I think that's really, really key. Just in terms of the leadership, I think you would have seen that we was asking the team to think about working together, about leading warm-ups, about creating set plays, and that was all to see who rose to the top, who took a lead. And then we look at the other stuff. So who's in the background trying to chip in and not quite confident enough yet to put their point across. Because, like you say, there's many aspects of this academy, and we know that there will be some diamonds that won't necessarily rise to the top straight away. So as the weeks pass on between now and the 15th of April, which is the next trial, we'll hopefully be getting an opportunity to see more of the individuals in different aspects. And going back to Trent Bridge Community Trust, all of the great work we do there, I'm very keen that we start to do some of that work over in Ilkeston as well, through Ilkeston Town Football Club and the academy. So there's going to be lots of opportunities for the young people engaging with our academy in September.
That's going to be amazing. It's going to see a lot of talent. Just touching on Ilkeston Town, they've got a game this weekend. Can we get a prediction?
Yeah, I think we played league. The league leaders are coming across, League Town. They're a very good, strong team, and that's why they're top of the league. But I felt when we played them at their place, we more than matched them, and we finished the game with 9 men. I'm not sure that would have changed the result massively, but we were in a position that we were competing, and I'd expect that on Saturday as well. When we had this at Baseford. When you're top of the league, everybody wants to beat you, especially at this time of the year. Everyone's trying to stop that train. Everybody wants to take your mantle. So we'll be no different. We were saying let's not let them get any more points on our pitch. And also we've had a tough time, really, the team have as well. So ultimately we want to give our fans something to cheer about because they've had a tough season.
Yes. Also, we've got Ilkeston Town's got a new assistant manager.
They have, yeah. Wayne Halcrow. No, Gandhi's known him for a long time, and I've known Wayne for probably 10 years or so, probably more actually. If looking back, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. So, and we know what he's about. He's been involved in successful teams before. More recently, the Stanford setup, and ultimately what's most important for us is having someone in that we can trust. We have to have someone in that group that we can trust 100%. That is going to be both on the players' side and understand what the management and the owners actually need from them as well. So, that Wayne ticks all them boxes. Got a fantastic player base in terms of players that he wants us to go out and have a look at and to consider for next year. So it fits every box. It ticks every box for us.
That's fantastic.
So recently, you and two would you say partners have taken over Ilkeston Town Football Club from former owner Alan Hardy. What was that kind of process, and what made you want to acquire the club?
Well, it kind of come from me being at the be taken over as the manager, head coach, or whatever it was I was named at the time. There was a home game. I think it was the Clifford game, so the first home game of the season, and Andy came and watched the game. Sent a couple of pictures over to Dave saying, look where Cliff is. He's managing the. It's great to see, and it all kind of snowballed over that weekend really to conversations kind of happening with Alan Hardy, and then we started to think and discuss about where the club had been and the issues that it had in the past and the current financial state, and within I think it was about 6 weeks or so, I think the deal was done. But I think ultimately they've got the best interest of the club at heart. They don't want to be putting all of their money in all of the time, so they're investing heavily now, and ultimately the club will see that fruition for many, many years to come. So it's a really exciting time, and I'm so glad that they came to that game and they took the punt, because ultimately the club might not be here now. Well, it wouldn't. That's a fact.
And it was just great to be involved with Ilkeston Town, and I think with you guys at the helm, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be sorted, obviously, but I think it's going to be a real good investment, and I think people are going to notice the new people in town, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. We've got the likes of Mark Frost, Mike and Kelly, and there's so many fantastic people at that club. And it was like when I first played there, and you still look now, and some of those people are still there, and that's what's important about the football club. It isn't about me, Andy, or Dave. It's actually about those people that's kind of their life. And yes, it's become kind of our life now, and it is consuming lots of our life. And there's been times, many times, where we've sat down and said, "Is this really worth it?" But actually, when we kind of dust ourselves off again from all the knockbacks that we've been getting, we actually go, yeah, it is. Of course it is. Look at these guys, and they deserve it. It's important. It's important for them.
Having won the league last season, and fans, obviously, we haven't had a great win rate this season. Fans don't have anything to worry about. It's just stabilising the club, making sure we've got the right players to hopefully do a charge next season, maybe.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about winning the league last season and then the transition into this season. I think when I came in a week before the season started, and to say it was a shambles is an absolute understatement. I'm 4 days away from an FA Cup game against Loughborough University, and there are 9 players signed to the club, 2 of which are goalkeepers and 1's long-term injured. So I'm scrambling around still, on Thursday and Friday, just to put a team out for that game, and to have had the start we did, and it's a good job we did, to have the start we did, and we picked up some fantastic results early on. If we didn't, we'd be in a real battle right now. But I think there was that thing called adrenaline, what kicked in early doors, and then you struggle sometimes mid-season unless you make a few signings to kick on. And I think we was already in a rut by the time that we'd taken over, and we'd threw a little bit more money at it to try and push us on. But money can't always solve everything. When there's other things going on behind the scenes, money's going to do nothing. You can bring in anyone you want. We could have brought Messi into that group, and I don't think we'd have done any better, because the foundations weren't built. The foundations were being rocked on a daily basis. So it was important that we identified it, we've addressed it, and we won't make those mistakes again. And we know where we are now and where we're going to be this time next season. I think in a year's time, we'll be hopefully looking down, hopefully going to places like Leek. Well, I think they'll be going up, but hopefully looking down at others.
I don't think we can go and do this podcast without actually mentioning Alex Marshall, local boy playing for local team. I'm hoping he's going to get a few more goals towards the end of the season.
Yeah, listen, Alex is a good striker, and he's had a bit of a torrid in terms of he's had a couple of niggles injury wise. He's had a few suspensions, so I don't think his season's ever really got going. Every time he's got himself into some kind of fitness and some kind of form, he's had an enforced break. So I think for Alex, he needs to look after himself better off the pitch, and I think then you'll start to see the difference that a better diet and a little bit of love and a bit of care for yourself will do for you. So it's really important. You look at footballers now, and it's a different game as to when I was when I first started out. Yeah. You've got to be fitter, stronger. Your mental strength's got to be it's got to be bang up there, because there's a lot of pressures now, especially with social media. I didn't have that to deal with. I'm sure I'd have been getting hammered every week if I did. Yeah. But I didn't have that, and these guys now have got a different game and different things to contend with.
So I think it was the first 5 or 6 weeks when you, Andy, acquired the club, you straight away showed what you wanted to do with the club, your ambitions, and the process of making the club self-sustainable in the future. That was unveiling the new plans for the stadium, a brand new 4G pitch, and it was really, well, it still is, but it really showed the fans that straight away you had the ambitions of making sure they have a club, not just for our generation, but plenty of generations to come. So we, being young, my great grandkids still have a local football club. How important was it for you and the owners to make sure that the club was self-sustainable in the future? I
think, firstly, from a financial point of view, and let's not beat around the bush here, Dave and Andrew have thrown a lot of personal cash at this. So to get the club being sustainable as quickly as possible is absolutely the first priority. So you would have seen all the plans, and ultimately that is a 3 to 5 year vision to get it to that finished state of that that kind of flyover model that I think you're talking about. But ultimately the thing that's going to make us the best money is going to be the pitch. So the pitch is going in this year. The floodlights are being upgraded. And the pitch side barriers and dressing rooms and all that kind of stuff all being done, because we know that's what it needs now. That's what it needs right this second, and the rest of it we can kind of work towards, because ultimately we need to be competitive in the league. We need not to be losing the amount of money that we are losing each month, and hopefully the pitch will address some of that balance, as well as the academy add into that as well.
Just wondering, Mark, what's your favourite footballing moment?
Winning the conference title with Boston back in 2001, I think it was. Without a doubt, it's the best moment. We spent a few days in London preparing for the game against Hayes. It was live on Sky. We just had to win the game really to go up, because Dagenham were hot on our tails, and it was a fantastic day. We took 3,000 fans down to Hayes, 3,500 fans down to Hayes, and we turned them over 2-0 on the day, and had a massive party for the next week that I can't remember.
They're the best one. The best kind.
So, Mark, what's your favourite football league ground you've played at or been to, and favourite non-league ground?
Favourite football league ground played on, probably Hillsborough. I think it's big. It's bigger than you think. It's a big ground. Burnley, actually, because that was, it's quite daunting. I played there in the what was then the Coca-Cola Cup. I think it's the League Cup now, the FL Cup, whatever they call it, and that was quite daunting because we played against pretty much their first team, and I was chucked in at the deep end, and we got beat 3-1, and I was given a footballing lesson, and I think I took a lot from that, as well as you know, you're not as far along the line as you think you are in football, and you need a lot to learn. I think sometimes football matches are sent to knock you down a peg or two.
And favourite non-league ground, it can be anything. It could be down to like the pitch, the facilities, maybe just the food and hospitality after.
There's two that spring to mind. One's not here. Well, both of them aren't here anymore. Russian and Diamonds, the old Russian Diamonds ground that the Dr. Martins, I think it's Max Griggs built. That was a fantastic setup with. You know, it was very much a football league setup when he did it, and he actually achieved that football league status. Unfortunately, financially, it wasn't viable long term, and it's now gone. So I think they're looking to build it into some kind of retail park, or if it's not already a retail park. And the other one was Darlington when they had their new stadium. I actually nearly signed for them, and went up there for talks and went into their reception up their great big lift, and to their boardroom to have talks with my agent about signing there, but. It just didn't work out. It just didn't feel right for me at the time. But I have actually played there as well as a player, and I think that's why they wanted me. And it was just a fantastic stadium. It was 25,000 all-seater. There was about 2,000 fans in there. It looked empty, but great ground. You know, and you know, just very grand.
Fantastic. And we're just gonna finish off now with what has been your worst experience?
Worst experience. It's difficult because I'm a fairly strong-willed character, so I've had there's been lots of downs in football, for me, with injuries and, you know, moving on to new clubs and, you know, losing people that's close to me when, you know, whilst I've been at clubs as well. But I don't know. It's a very tough question. I know this season's been tough because there's been a lot of things that I've not been able to affect, and you know, we're up there to be shot at. I think this year it's made me realise much more how important being healthy is, and having, you know, my family around me, because again, on a Saturday night it can be a very lonely place if you've not picked up the points, and every fan wants to have his say about how he thinks they should do things. So probably this year, but again, as an owner and as a head of football and, you know, general dog's body of the club, I'd probably put it down to this season, yeah.
Excellent. I was told that I jumped the gun there. I do believe that Danny's actually got another question.
So,
Danny.
So to finish up on, obviously, the trial was today, is there any advice you'll give to any aspiring young footballers or people who want to work in the football environment, I guess?
Yeah, there is, and I think what I'm going to say is very contradictory to both ends of the stick. One is to work really hard at what you want to do and what you want to achieve, and the other one is not to take yourself too serious. And the reason I say that is because if you work too hard and everything's too serious, you put a lot of pressure on yourself, and you tend not to enjoy it, which then manifests itself into poor performances. So for me, it's about getting the right balance. It's about having that dedication and that desire, but actually knowing that if something goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. That actually there's always another opportunity to put things right. And, you know, the longer you beat yourself up about a bad pass or an own goal or a penalty miss, it's affecting what happens next. So get over things quickly, be strong, work hard, don't take yourself too serious.
And that is all we've got time for right now. We're going to have another guest in shortly. And I just want to thank Mark for coming along today, giving up his time and talking to us about, you know, all the stuff he does. And all I can say is I think Ilkeston's in the right direction now.
Thanks, guys. Look forward to coming back on to talk about anything else other than football. Would be great.
That's yes.
Love it. Thanks, guys.
Brilliant. Hello and welcome back to the Astraddle podcast. To my left is Lee, as usual, and to my right is, well, behind the big wall thing, is Grace.
Yes.
Hello.
How are you? Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
I know you're very busy, so when I got the chance to get Grace in to have a talk about what she does, I thought it'd be absolutely amazing story. Grace is a yoga instructor, and I've got to admit, I've been to a couple of her classes, and I am the most unflexible person ever. But honest to God, I feel great when I've been in and done these lessons. It's been absolutely amazing, and I've brought you along today just to ask you a few questions. I know a few things about you. I was just wondering, how did you get into yoga?
Oh, thank you for having me on. This is very exciting. So I got into yoga quite a few years ago when I went traveling. When I was 18, took a year out, started going to India, was traveling around. And that's when I started to really get into yoga and physical yoga practices and meditations and all things like that. And then it just kind of blew up from there, really. I started to use it in my daily life, but it kind of originated from my travels, really, which was a really beautiful way to learn about yoga through traveling and meeting new people and having new experiences. So, yeah, that's how it kind of all began, really.
So, just a question. What is yoga?
What is yoga? That is a great question. Thank you, Lee. Yoga can be kind of anything, really. Yoga can be literally anything. What we know yoga as in the modern world is kind of yoga poses and asanas. They're called asanas, which are postures. And you'll see people in yoga classes bending themselves into kind of pretzel-like shapes, and they'll be standing in tree pose. You've probably heard of tree pose or downward dog, and they're kind of what we know to be yoga, modern day yoga. But actually yoga goes really, really far back, thousands of years, comes originally from India, and it's actually a method, a means, and a way to keep yourself well and keep yourself healthy in your daily life. And yoga can spread into all aspects of your life. So part of yoga that we do in the yoga classes, the yoga asanas, are a way to keep your physical body healthy. But there's so much more than that. It's a way to keep your mind healthy. It's a way to keep your spirit healthy. And it's sort of they intended it to be a daily practice and a discipline that permeates into all aspects of your life. So for me, for example, yoga is the way that I talk to people and interact in the world. So I try and do everything and infuse it with kindness and sort of try and be kind and respectful to everyone I meet. And I contemplate and meditate on a lot of things. And that's sort of my yoga practice. But for somebody else, their yoga practice might just mean having 5 minutes in the morning to, close their eyes, meditate, think about their day, think about what's coming up ahead of the day. Or it might be just attending a yoga class. But just by saying yoga is physical movement and posture is just one tiny part of yoga. There's so much more to it, more than I could fill in 40 minutes, an hour. I would need a lot more than that for sure.
Do you know what? That's probably the best explanation of yoga I've heard. And I wasn't expecting it to be like that, to be fair.
There you go. Yeah, there's a lot to it that we don't usually think of, because I think just with modern day and marketing and such, that we think yoga is just on the mat and it's just in that rectangular space. But it's actually, for me, a lifestyle. It's how I talk to myself. It's how I try and eat mindfully. It's how I cultivate relationships, friendships, all having this sort of kindness and respectfulness nature. That's how I try and do everything in my life. So it all comes from yoga and the practices of yoga and the teachings.
And when was the last time you went to India to study more yoga?
So the last time, we're in February now, and the last time was October 2019, yeah.
So for me, someone who doesn't really know much about yoga, and your explanation was pretty much bang on. I mean, it tells me a lot about it and where it originates from and the benefits of it. But for me, someone who's still at school, would you say yoga is something that you should take up? Is it something that you would recommend for younger people?
Oh yeah, totally. So most people come to me and they come to yoga classes just for the physical aspect. That's how I started yoga. I was like, okay, I want to do some stretching, you know, I want to get to know my body a bit better. I want to feel more flexible. And that's probably 90% of people, they come initially for that reason. And that's a great way to start. But what happens once you come to the classes, you start to go a little bit deeper into yourself. And initially you come just for the physical aspect, the physical benefit. But then what starts to happen is you get an additional benefit and you get a mental benefit, because it gives you sort of like a mental lunch break. So for that hour or that half an hour, 45 minutes, however long the session is, it gives you time to yourself. So you don't have to worry or stress about anything, which is great for anyone at any age. So if you're at school, if you're at college, if you're at university, if you've got exams, if you've got worries, if you've got stresses in your life, which in this day and age is pretty much most of us, having this time to yourself is such a beautiful thing, because it gives you a little bit of space and distance away from your problems. So it gives time for your mind to calm down, especially most of us, especially a younger generation like me. We're kind of on our phones all the time, like apps like Instagram, Facebook, they're made to be addictive. We're addicted to them. It's hard to get away from them. So when you have this time, your mind calms down, your nervous system can relax. And then when you go back out into the world, you're in a better shape to interact with the people around you.
I've got to admit, having a look at your Instagram, I'm like, oh my God. I swear to God, yeah, sometimes when looking at it, I think, how can you be that flexible? I really do. But just taking us away from yoga, what do you do when you're not actually doing yoga? Because I know you've got a busy schedule and everything like that. But what is it you actually enjoy out of yoga?
So it's hard, you know, I get asked this question a lot because kind of yoga permeates my whole life. But not the physical yoga, but a lot of reading around yoga. I do a lot of meditation. I go to the New Buddhist Kadampa Center in Derby quite often and go on like Buddhist retreats and courses. Not that I'm Buddhist, but I just find that kind of thing quite interesting. But I recently took up bouldering, which is like rock climbing without the ropes, and it's really fun. I really like that.
Seems a little extreme for me.
It is quite extreme, you know. It's very hard, but I found that the upper body strength that I have from yoga makes me quite good at it. I was quite surprised.
I can say that because I've seen some of the videos of some of the stuff that you've done, and I can't do that, and I've got a decent upper body strength. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'd recommend bouldering. It's very fun.
Yeah, I'll recommend it to you, Danny. You can do it.
I mean, just going from what you say, that seems like something I'll walk in and then I'm running straight back in from that.
Maybe not.
Yeah. So with that and you're doing that, I know you've got a very busy schedule. I know you've just started doing a website.
Yeah.
Would you like to just give me a little bit of information about what it is about this website?
Yeah, so my new website, which is now live, it's at www.graceandbalance.live, and it's a online site where you can download and watch yoga tutorial videos, and you can practice yoga at home with me. So the feedback that I was getting from my classes, which I absolutely love doing, was that people wanted to do more. They wanted to know more about yoga. They wanted to know more about the philosophy side. Maybe they wanted to practice more at home. But of course, there's heaps of videos on YouTube. There's heaps of videos that you can get for free. But people were kind of like the way that I teach, I guess. So people wanted more that they could take home and that they could practice with. So I decided to create this new website where you can stream videos and you can learn at home. So you can use that either alongside the classes that you already come to, or maybe if you can't come to classes, and this is a perfect way to be able to practice at home. So the videos range from complete beginners all the way up to advanced. We've got some tricky stuff in there that I really struggle with as well.
So it's basically a Netflix of yoga.
Exactly, yeah. It's like Netflix for yoga.
Do a subscription and you can just do what you need to do.
Yeah, it's really, really awesome, and the feedback so far has just been phenomenal, and all the support that I've had setting it up, especially thank you to you, Lee, for helping me with all my photos and everything. It's been so great. So I'm very, very thankful for everyone that's supported me to be able to do it.
I've really enjoyed doing it. It's been really good. It's completely different to what I normally do.
Yeah.
And I think some of the videos and photos turned out fantastic. Yeah. We've got to do some more as well. So.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Especially when the weather gets a little bit nicer.
Absolutely, yeah. So, the link to the website will be in the description when we post this, so people can flock to your website and subscribe.
Yeah, check it out.
It's gonna be a good website, really.
Oh yeah,
is.
for sure. Yeah, we've worked very hard on it. I think between us all. So it looks really nice.
If you just want to let me know, people that want to come to a class, how much is it to go to a class for a yoga with you?
So my community classes in the area, they're £6 for a drop-in session, or if you buy like a bulk, if you buy a block, it works out a little bit cheaper, so it works out about £5 a session. And if you want to find out more details about that, you can just head to my website, which is graceandbalanceyoga.com. So, and all the links are on there to book.
That would be absolutely fantastic.
With someone who, with me, someone who's not really in the loop or doesn't really understand it, for someone who's possibly thinking of getting involved, you spoke about a few benefits already, but in particular, maybe those who aren't confident enough, maybe to go to one of the sessions you do, how would you say to them with a website how that can also benefit them mentally and physically as well?
Yeah, so do you mean with the live site, with the subscription site? Yeah, so a lot of people, they maybe want to try it. Maybe it's been on your New Year's resolution list. You're thinking, oh, what is this yoga thing about? Loads of people are doing this. People are doing this thing called hot pod. What is going on? What is this hype around yoga? So a great place to start, and where most people start, is by doing a video at home. And that's where a lot of people go to. So it might be that they go to YouTube, or you can of course come to my site, just to build your confidence, because I totally understand what it's like to go to something new, a new class, a new club, and get there and you think, oh, I don't know anybody, and it can be really quite daunting. The teacher's throwing these words at you like downward dog, what even is that? I don't know. So it can be quite scary the first time. So that's why a lot of people, they try with the videos first, just to get a kind of feel for what yoga is about and see whether that's for them. But what I'd say with a class is the added benefit of that is you get that whole community setting and that community vibe. And I feel really, really lucky and really thankful that in all of the sessions that I do across Ilkeston and Derbyshire, every single class has such a beautiful community feel to it, and everyone is so supportive. Nobody is judgmental. Nobody is looking at you thinking, oh, they can't do it. It's not like that at all. And I really promote an inclusive group, an inclusive class where anybody can come regardless of your ability. And all of my sessions are aimed at beginners. I don't, shout all the Sanskrit words and all these fancy long words about trying to confuse people. Like, that's not what it's about. Like, I've lived in Ilkeston my whole life. I don't come around and try and make people feel stupid. That is not my goal whatsoever. So everything that I do is made so that everybody feels included, everyone feels valued, everybody feels seen, and everybody can come and enjoy the session to their ability.
Well, I know as you're going to be doing football, Danny, and you're going to need to be
there you go.
as good as you are. I will pay for a subscription for you.
There you
for
go.
a yoga website, so that you can get into it and be as flexible, which will pay off in the end for football.
Yeah.
Right. So, talking about like football and other sports, would you say doing yoga can benefit you and make you better in other aspects, as in, so a footballer, a rugby player can help with increasing their ability in that sport that they do?
Oh yeah, for sure. And that is quite a big group of people that I have come to me. I have rugby players, I have runners, I have cricket players, I have football players, I have people that do weightlifting, a lot of people that go to the gym a lot, so they're very, very strong, but they don't have that flexibility. And so a lot of the time they either get told by somebody at the gym that they go to, or somebody at the sports centre that they go to, hey, have you tried yoga? Really good for your body, because it's good to complement your body with different movements and different stretches. So if you're finding something that's very strength based, like you go to the gym a lot, you do a lot of weightlifting, or perhaps you do rugby, then you need to complement that and you need to look after your muscles. So even though you're building strength, you still need the elasticity in the muscle fibers in order to keep you healthy. Otherwise you're going to be super strong, but you're going to have no mobility. And this is what I find often. That people come and they're really hench and they're really big guys or big gals, but to get them into a twist is a difficult one.
Yeah, I'm not very... What's that word you just said about it? What are they when...
Hench?
No. I'm definitely that.
Of course.
But
Elasticity.
that's
Is
the
that
word.
word?
Elasticity,
Yeah, I'm definitely not that.
Yeah. You need to take care of your joints, because, as soon as we all get older and then we lose that mobility and we don't have, the connective tissues that are supporting the joints, and that's when they start to erode. So,
just so everybody knows, I did look after my joints. I bought a new one. It's called a knee. Well, I actually didn't buy it, no. But no, that's another story.
Okay.
Right, so I think that leads us to our little bit of a break. Coming back, we'll talk a bit more about what Grace does
Yes,
with yoga and also outside of yoga.
might have a little story of when we went out and did some photos at Shipley Hall. That was
Very
quite
nice.
funny. And we are back, and we've just had a little break. We've just been talking and funny stories. But before we get to a funny story, I just want to talk to you about... I've heard you do something that's called befriending. Is that the correct term for it, Grace?
Yes, that is the correct term, yes.
And what does it actually entail?
Okay, so it's something that I've done for quite a few years now. I've always, even from sort of the age of 16, I've always done some kind of volunteering. It started sort of in a charity shop and then sort of progressed from there. But the befriending that I do at the moment is through Erewash Voluntary Action, and it is fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. But what it entails is you are partnered up, you're paired up with somebody in the community that maybe can't get out as much, maybe has really low self-confidence, or maybe just needs somebody to help them do a certain thing. So maybe they need help with their shopping because they can't physically get out the house, something like that. But what I do 2 befriendings a week, and the first one that I do is with a lady, and we go for a cup of tea every Thursday. So that is her routine with me and that lady. We go for a cup of tea, and it's possibly the highlight of her week and also the highlight of my week. It's wonderful because it's hard when you get older, if you're confined to your house, you don't see anybody, it can get really lonely and isolating, and isolation is a massive sort of epidemic that we're having at the minute with our community not being as strong as it was quite a few years ago. So through befriending, we make these new connections and we build new friendships, and to see that bloom over the sort of, I think, 3 years that I've been doing it with this individual is a really sort of beautiful thing. And then the second one that I do, the second befriending, is with a gentleman who's quite disabled, and every week we go bowling, which is again another highlight of my week. I absolutely love it. I lose nearly every week, but it's so amazing, and there's no money changed hands. You just go because it's something that you want to do. And sometimes people say, but it's still a selfish thing because you're getting a buzz from helping somebody. But I just feel that if that person feels better and they go home feeling like, oh, that's great, I've had a really good day, and I go home feeling, oh, that's great, I've had a really good day, then I can't really see anything at all that's wrong with that, because all that you're doing is making 2 people really happy, and maybe really helping somebody in the community that lives really close to you, even just a couple of streets over. We don't know a lot of the time what's going on in other people's lives, but by building these connections, we help make our community a lot more stronger and a lot more integrated.
That is truly inspiring. Mm-hmm. I wish I could do something like that. I genuinely do.
Yeah.
But
it's time, like we're all leading such busy lives, and it's hard to sort of, ring fence that time and say, okay, I'm going to do something in this time, and we all get swept over by all these emails and all these things that I need to do and run these errands. But what I find that is through the befriending, it really puts my own life, my own worries and perspectives into perspective, really, because I see that, well, actually, there's a lot of people that have it a lot worse off than me, and by just giving 1 hour of my week, that's 1 hour out of all those hours in the week, I just give that 1 hour to that one individual, and it not to sound over dramatic, but you don't know how that can change somebody's life. You're building a friendship with somebody that hardly sees anybody. They might see 2 people in a week, that's all. So it can make the biggest difference. So to anybody that's ever thought about it, or maybe you've never thought about it and this is the first time you've heard about it, you can get involved in your community. So whether that's Erewash, Amber Valley, everywhere, that we all in our boroughs have these opportunities to get involved with some kind of befriending scheme. So
I was working with people with dementia yesterday, and it felt really good to actually be helping. It really did. I'm hoping I can do it more often, because it was really good. But we'll go off the little bit of the seriousness now.
Okay.
What we'll do is we're going to talk about it wasn't an incident, it was a funny moment when we was up Shipley Hall doing some photos for your yoga website. Would you like to tell everybody what actually happened?
We were taking the photos, and we had, well, to set the scene, we drive up there, and it's this crisp, cool morning, and it's kind of misty, and it's a spot that you've been to before, Lee, so you recommended it because it's always really quiet. It's always really quiet there. And we get there, and it wasn't quiet. There was 2 people already pulled up that were kind of in their car, and there was people milling around, and there I am, sort of in my leggings, sort of 2-degree temperature outside.
It wasn't exactly warm.
No, typical English weather, as you can imagine. And there was we sort of got everything set up with the cameras and got the angles right. We got the yoga mat out and all ready to go. And you just see people walking around the periphery, just looking at you. And then I think there's a man that came around with so many dogs. I can't even remember how many dogs he had. And they were all just kind of stopping and just watching. And I just kind of offered, hey, do you want to join in? And they looked kind of bemused.
And then they walked off pretty swiftly.
Yeah.
It was quite funny to see.
It was quite funny. It was it was nice. I think it's strange for people seeing, why is that lady, just wearing leggings and kind of a crop top? Why is she out in this 2-degree weather taking photos? I don't know.
And why is a guy with a big lens
taking
photographs of her?
Yes. Well, the things we do.
Yes, the things we do on a cold Friday morning. But saying that though, the cup of tea afterwards was really nice.
Oh, it was worth it, 100%. That cafe. Where is it? Derby? Is it called Derby Lodge?
I don't know.
It's so nice in Shipley.
It was really nice.
I recommend that. If you're out there for a walk and it's very cold, I recommend. I think it's Derby Lodge. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. Or Shipley Lodge.
If anybody's about and they listen to this, they go, oh yeah, I know where that is. Go in for a drink. It's really nice.
Yes, recommend to get out of the
I
cold
recommend
drizzle.
it. I recommend it. What has been your favourite experience?
My favourite experience? What? Doing yoga?
Doing yoga, yeah.
Probably my favourite experience was when I was doing, one of my favourite experiences, there's been so many, but one of my favourite experiences was when I did my yoga teacher training, and it's a super intense course. You do it for 4 weeks, and it's 6 days a week. You get up at sort of 5 in the morning, and you're doing all kinds of yoga related activities and learning up until about 8 p.m. at night. So it's really super intense course. And it was so hot when I was doing this course. It was summer in India, and we were doing the course. It was next to the Ganges River, so a really famous holy river in India. Not very clean. I wouldn't say that it was clean, but on one of the days we all decided as a group, there was about 20 of us, to go into the Ganges River together, which was so amazing. It was so cold in that river. It was fresh flowing down the mountain, but we all went in, and because it's so holy, and even if you don't believe in it, when you're there in India, you kind of get sucked into that kind of spiritual vibe, if you like. So we all went in, and you have to like dunk your head 5 times, sort of like a blessing. And yeah, that was really one of the most, wow, I can't believe I'm here experiences. And looking back on that that's where it kind of all started for me, and now I'm doing what I'm doing, and where I'm now is really beautiful to see that sort of journey. So
that is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what is your goal as an instructor? But I think you've pretty much covered it there on, you know, the things that you want to do.
Yeah, there's so much more. Like, I feel like right now I'm still at the beginning stages of what I'm doing and what I'm bringing. So I'm always wanting to grow, and I kind of want to spread yoga to as many people as possible, because I find that what I can do through my teaching and in the classes is bring the teachings of yoga to everybody. So it doesn't matter if you've never done it before, it doesn't matter if you've never heard of it, it doesn't matter if you don't know what a downward dog is. Like, I feel like I can teach pretty much anybody how to do yoga.
I think you should show Danny a downward dog before you leave.
Okay, deal done. We can do that. That's no problem.
Trying to picture that in my head, but
Believe you me, mate, it's everyone talks about it.
Everybody talks about it.
It doesn't look how you think it'd look.
No.
okay.
It's but flexibility is unreal.
I'll give you a demo. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, just tell me one more time about the website. What's the link?
Yes, so if you want to subscribe, 7 days free trial for everybody that joins, it's at graceandbalance.live.
And is that live now, you say?
Yes, it's live. Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah, I encourage people to go to it. And I'll also put a link in the description and to your social media so people can see what you do on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you.
At this point in time, I'll just say it's been a pleasure to having you along and telling us about your story.
Thank you for having
Hoping maybe later on down the line, come back on and tell us how the website's going, and
Of course.
you know, we can have a few more stories.
Definitely.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you for having me, guys.
All right.
Cash makes the world spin, the whirlwind, the hurricane. I'm in a trouble worrying, cause everybody's hurrying. I'm scavenging and borrowing, foraging and wallowing in self-pity, following my dreams, losing money. And the funny thing, I think cause we're too busy shoveling. I look at what I could have been, a lot more than a million. I should have made a million, will if I have to kill a man. My willy hand's gorilla grip, his milli man is silly like. I'm in a van that doesn't work, cause I'm too busy digging dirt. I freaking jerks who didn't deserve a given minute in the earth. I bring it up and lay it down on level ground, I leveled out. And then I lay a patio and pavers and put pebbles down. I take a moral, make a mountain, rake it out and break the ground. Writing cash up safe and sound, I take it on my paper round. No need to have my customers, they find a certain trust in us. It's just in it and I've already finished, I'm just dusting up. I'm in a rush, I gotta go, God, I gotta hoe the beds of those hedges and a lot of